The theme for this week is shock, structure, and soul lessons. We have a lot going on. We have a planet called Uranus moving into the sign of Gemini. It has not been there for the last 84 years. We also have a full moon in Capricorn, and Saturn will be going retrograde this week. So let's get into the cosmic pour and talk about the astrology for the week ahead. Hi, my name is Rhonnie, and I am one half of the collective Jupiter Jews, and I'm here to bring you insights for this week ahead so that you can prepare not only for this week, but for the journey that lies ahead, probably for the next year, for the next several years, especially because we have a lot happening. We have a major transit, which is called Uranus. It will be moving into Gemini today when you'll be watching this video, July the 7th. So you may be thinking, a lot of people may be talking about this planet on social media, or maybe you don't even know what the planet is about. So Uranus is the planet that causes breakthroughs, sudden changes, rebellion. It is seen as something that sends shocks through the system, especially if it hits like your sun, moon, or rising sign. So right now, we have it moving into Gemini. So Gemini is the planet of curiosity, is the planet of youth, is the planet of knowledge, the mind, innovation, technology, things like that. So when those two come together, it brings about this new wave for the world when it comes to innovation and technology. So this planet was discovered in like the mid 1700s, and throughout history, we see this planet make huge waves when it comes to the collective. So, for example, shortly before we discovered this planet, when it was in Gemini in the 1700s, I don't have the exact dates, but you guys can look it up. It's on Google. And we also actually have, side note, we also actually have a video about Uranus in Gemini here on our YouTube channel under our Jupiter Juice podcast. So definitely make sure to tune into that episode. We actually have a series going. So stay tuned with that series so that you can know a lot more about this planet so that you can be prepared for what's going on. But anyway, I digress. So Uranus is basically a sign of rebellion. And so in the 1700s, that's where we really get to see it get into action. So during that time, the United States separated from England. So that was the American Revolution. And then fast forward to the 1800s, like the 1860s, we have the American Civil War. And then let's move to the 1900s, the 1940s, we have World War II. So during these eras, we definitely did have wars. We had civil unrest. We had, people fighting for their rights, their freedoms, rebelling against the man, against the powers that be. And then we also see innovation in technology. So we see, telegraphs come into play during these times. We have, innovation when it comes to Hollywood and television, especially during the 1940s. So you see like a boom in technology, a boom in media. So what does that mean for us today? So on a collective scale, that means, we have AI, we have cryptocurrency. There's going to be a boom in that, as we already see, especially with it getting out of control. I would say one thing that we do need to watch out for is deep fakes. That's something right now we can't even tell, what we're looking at on social media. Is like, is this real? Is this fake? Is this AI? Also, a huge boost in the spread of false information. It's going to be an information overload. It already is with the new age of, not new age, but with the age of social media. It's information overload. So that's something that you definitely have to be mindful of, and it's gonna honestly make your mind go haywire. It already is for a lot of people. And so I would just say during this time, my advice for you is to not to stay out of social media, because, hey, it's a part of our everyday lives, but ground yourself, go outside, touch some grass, read a book. okay? Because at the end of the day, like, knowledge, a lot of people being educated is definitely declining. So you want to stay educated, especially if you're bringing children to this world. Keep them educated, have them, provide books. And you're also going to see a new age of the way, we teach. There's going to be a lot of parents homeschooling. There's going to be, because, the structure of the school system is going to change, especially in America. A lot of things are happening, especially with the big orange, in his seat. It's just going to bring about a lot of change, and we're going to have to rework how we operate in this world. And you will see uprisings, you will see rebellion. There's a lot going on. A lot of people's livelihoods are being stripped away, and so they're going to get mad about it. I mean, it's inevitable, and the energy of this planet is behind the collective and behind the people. So it's going to be kind of chaotic. It's going to be crazy. So it's important to just stay connected. I will move off from the subject of this planet. I just think it's very interesting, especially since everyone's talking about it, and it's such a big thing. None of us really living today, especially, us young people, we have not experienced this planet, so it's very new for all of us. So everyone's very anxious and, wanting to know what's going to happen next. And yeah, let me take a beat. On an individual level, especially for Gemini suns like myself, Gemini moons, and Gemini risings, it will be affecting you the most in mutable signs. And it's just going to be, you're going to see a lot of shifts in your psyche, and how you operate depending on what house is going to be in for you. So definitely make sure you take a look at that and study up on that and how it will affect you, so you can kind of prepare, know what's coming, because at the end of the day, Uranus is the sign of breakthroughs and sudden changes. So you can't necessarily pinpoint. You could get the theme of what's going to, go on possibly, but just go with the flow. This is a surrender type of energy. So definitely surrender to, divine timing. Also, you do have free will, so it's about how you operate in those changes, because Uranus is not a good or a bad planet. It just brings changes, so it depends on how you operate within that planet. So we have the full moon in Capricorn coming up this week as well. So we also have the sun in Cancer. So what does that mean? So you have, public versus private, structure versus sensitivity. So you're going to be gaining closure around career goals, maybe projects, and, just how you operate in life, and, just releasing maybe even the burden when it comes to career goals. And this is also about setting boundaries and emotional discipline. So the question you want to ask yourself, is your, emotional health aligned with your goals? Because a lot of times, when it comes to Capricorn, of course, we know it's a sign of, work, structure, career. I mean, it's ruled by Saturn. It's a slow moving type of sign. It's a earthbound sign. So it's very, grounded. But a lot of times, especially with Capricorns, especially Capricorn moons, I'm a Capricorn moon myself, what we can struggle with is, really tapping into our emotions and honoring our emotions, because especially in a capitalistic society, you can be wired to think like it's all about work, and you need to set a boundary around that, and like what you're not going to just tolerate anymore, and honor your feelings when it comes to, that area of your life. So depending on what house your moon is in, mine is in my first house in Placidus, second house in whole sign. And so just think about especially if it's in your first house, it's like how you identify with those emotions, and how it shapes your identity and what you need to let go of in order to feel full in life, right? You have to let go of outdated ambition. Sometimes things just don't work the way you want them to work, and that's okay, and you can let that go. You have free will. If it's something that you don't want to do, let it go. That's it. That's all that you have to do. But that's what, this energy is about. It's like, what do you feel? What do you want to do? What truly aligns with your heart and your soul and your spirit? This moon will be affecting Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libras the most. So you're having big internal shifts, or big external breakthroughs. So since this is a full moon in Capricorn, and a lot of times people come up with rituals, so I have a ritual for you. I'm a ritual girl. I love a ritual down. So what you can do during this full moon is write down outdated old systems and career goals that no longer align with you and your vision. And you just write it down, be very honest with yourself. And then what you're going to do with that, you're going to burn it or you're going to bury it, and just let it go so you can move on. What the next thing that you can do is write down 3 legacy visions. So you can write down what you actually want to be remembered for and what your soul calls to. So that is something that you could do during this full moon, just to really think about and just reassess, your life really. Especially during this time, we have a lot going on during the month of July, especially with it being retrograde season for a lot of planets this month. It is a time to reassess, rethink, regroup. And yeah, so good luck on this full moon. And then we're going to move into our last major transit for this week, which is Saturn in Aries going retrograde this Sunday, July the 13th. Alrighty, so Saturn in Aries. So Saturn will be retrograde in Aries from July the 13th to September the 1st, and then it'll begin its retrograde back into Pisces after that until February of next year. So Saturn is the planet of discipline, structure, and traditional astrology. It's where things go to and so it takes away its decay, right, in order for new things to grow. So Saturn does not like being in Aries. Aries does not like Saturn, because Aries is very fast-paced, go-getter. It is the first of the zodiac signs. It is the youngest. It's, I would think of Aries as the fool, the leap of faith. Saturn draws that energy back. And basically it grounds that energy a bit. And then Aries also gives Saturn a little bit of fire. So with Saturn going into Aries, you may feel a little bit of stagnation. You may feel like, man, nothing is working out for me. Oh my goodness. But you have to remember, retrogrades are for reassessing, realigning, revisiting goals and things like that. And because it's in the sign of Aries, it has to do with, really identity, how you identify with things, like your inner fire, your inner power. And so it's really going to have you go back to the drawing board to rethink some things and what you really want for yourself, depending on what house it's in. So like, for example, if it's in the 5th house, it's like, you may be reassessing how you want to show up as a creative, or how you want to show up in romantic relationships, or maybe you may be going back and having to deal with matters when it comes to your children, or the energy around children. If it's in the 1st house, it's your core identity, and maybe this idea that you had for yourself, maybe it's not that, and maybe you're going back to the drawing board. This deals with your leadership style and how you set boundaries, in regards to wherever house that this planet may be residing. So don't worry, especially because it's in Aries. A lot of people can freak out. It's like, oh my God, nothing is getting done, because you want to go. But it's time to slow down, and slow down even more with it being in retrograde in Aries. Other than that, July is going to be a crazy month when it comes to breakthroughs and just reassessments, and really building solid foundations so that you can actually glow up. And then, of course, on a global scale, with Uranus moving into Gemini, it's going to be major changes. We know it's going to be around cryptocurrency, AI, healthcare, things, rebellion, uprisings. It's going to be that. And just stay grounded and prepared. And I will work on something for you guys, like a ritual guide that you can use throughout these transits so that you can, have better practices when it comes to staying grounded and just staying aware and connected. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of the Cosmic Pour. Just to let you guys know, Jupiter Juice will be offering tarot and birth chart readings, so definitely stay tuned for that. And also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and share with a friend. Other than that, have a beautiful week, and thank you so much for watching the Cosmic Pour. Bye.